I'm gonna do my job, and I'm gonna try to let him to feel him so much pain and then knock out him.
With September 14th just around the corner, things are getting intense between Canelo Alvarez and Edgar Berlanga.
Shut up.
Canelo.
When I talk, shut
Canelo.
up.
What?
When I talk,
And then
shut
what?
up.
What are you gonna do?
And then
What you gonna do? What you gonna do?
All right.
What you gonna do?
Canelo, who is acknowledged as one of the most eminent fighters of this era based on his pristine fighting stance and brawniness, recently sat down to express his opinions about the upcoming bout, stating how it is nothing new for him. As in the past, he has triumphed against notable names like Gennady Golovkin and Sergey Kovalev. Canelo stated, "He's good, he's strong, he's young, and he's hungry, but you know he's nothing new for me. I have been in there with all kinds of fighters, difficult fighters, strong fighters, and I'm just gonna go in there and do my business." While completely sanguine about his capabilities, Canelo issued a stern warning to Berlanga about how he would show him real agony inside the ring as he knocks him out, especially after the crude remarks by the young fighter stating that he would easily dethrone the Mexican king. Canelo stated, "I don't know how quickly it will end, but I'm gonna do my job, and I'm gonna try to make him feel so much pain and then knock him out." Emphasizing the significance of the fight night, Canelo appeared ardent, stating how it is an honor for him to fight on the Mexican Independence Day weekend, as he usually tries to do so every year to cater to his Mexican fans after all the support that they gave him over the years. Canelo added, "I always try to fight in those days because it's important for me and for my Mexican fans. So I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to fight in September or in May, and I'm very honored." Sensing that Canelo might be out for vengeance, prominent trainer Stephen Edwards sat down with Mill City Boxing to share his sentiments about this fight, stating how this fight might not thrive in the way Edgar seems to believe, as after the recent explosive face-off, a switch has been flipped in Canelo, leading many to suspect that he will completely obliterate Edgar, dismantling his career. Stephen stated, "I think Canelo is going to try to torture him. I think because of his mouth and everything." He added, "I think he's going to try and torture him and beat him up to his body, just ruin him and beat the stuffing out of him. I think he's going to try and carry him late and try and beat him for 10 or 11 rounds and really hurt the kid." Stefan also insinuated how Edgar might bolt from possible humiliation, and he might resort to sketchy antics to disqualify himself during the fight, which is something he has done in the past. Although Stefan did not divulge any particular instance, many people seem to believe that he might be referring to the incident that took place way back in 2022 against Romer Alexis, where to get out of an awkward situation during the fight, Edgar bit his opponent, leading to a 6-month suspension from professional fighting.
Yep, I think he's gonna carry him late and try beat him by 10th or 11th round and really hurt the kid. I do. I wouldn't be surprised if Berlanga got disqualified and just didn't want the embarrassment of just getting ruined like that in front of his family and friends. Because I've seen him bite people before, and I've seen him make certain kind of comments. So I think he's the kind of guy that, like, I wouldn't be surprised if he just lost his cool and did something dirty.
Confident in Canelo, Stefan stated how he is a terrific fighter with unprecedented attributes that not only make him unique, but also make him stand out from the rest of the legion of fighters in the weight division. Keeping this in mind, he went on to state how though many people might not accredit Canelo for this fight with Berlanga, he will still come out as an elite fighter.
People like to criticize Canelo, but that's a great fighter. That's a great, great fighter. You got to respect him. That's that dude about 5'7". He fighting them giants at 68, 75. Won titles from 54 to 75. That's a great, great fighter. I know people been in the ring with him and sparring and in the gym. That's a real dude, and he could hurt you. And Berlanga got to be careful.
Meanwhile, on the other hand, not everyone is a fan of Canelo, which becomes quite evident when we recollect the rather vexed insight taken by renowned boxing coach Teddy Atlas on how Canelo is an overrated fighter and how it is preposterous for him to be considered the #1, especially when there is a sheer number of talented Mexican fighters like Juan Manuel Marquez and Cesar Chavez Sr. who have graced the ring in a far more illustrious way. Teddy stated, "Canelo has always been overrated. Now that doesn't mean that he is not a really good fighter, but he is not the greatest Mexican fighter of all time." Reiterating the same idea, Teddy recently divulged into this during an interview with Fight Hub by bringing up the infamous trilogy that Canelo had with Gennady Golovkin, where the Mexican fighter faced failure in the first 2 fights, despite being considered the superior fighter, and how he only triumphed the 3rd time due to the judge's involvement. Teddy stated, "It was not a knock on him, Canelo Alvarez. It was a reminder to the fans out there, the people that are making these judgments, of how deep, how steep the history of the great Mexican fighters are." Voicing the public criticism criticisms, Teddy emphasized that it is not a surprise to anyone at this point that in recent years, Canelo has sought out somewhat feeble opponents like Edgar and Munguia, who despite being younger and more ferocious, still lack the prudence and attributes to face a fighter like Canelo, who has partaken in more than 60 professional bouts.
You know, he's a young, talented fighter, but he's an inexperienced fighter at this level. You know, he just started fighting the last couple of fights at a better level. And he's looked good, Berlanga. He's improved. I give him credit. And like I say, he's a talented kid. But it reminds me very much of Munguia. When they picked Munguia for a reason. Look, Munguia had more fights than Berlanga, but not the fights that count. Not of that level, not of the level anywhere, of course, near Canelo.
According to countless assumptions, this choice from Canelo might be due to his seemingly older age, as he is not the same vicious fighter that he once was, which is something that has become quite conspicuous in his latest fights. Concurring to this idea, Teddy emphasized, Canelo is an experienced and solid guy, strong good puncher, good counterpuncher, but he is slowing down a little bit. He's not as busy as he used to be, and he might not be the same finisher he used to be. However, despite all these cynical viewpoints, Teddy has reaffirmed that the highly lucrative nature of this upcoming event is heavily attributed to Canelo's involvement, as he is an extremely marketable fighter, an attribute that the stakeholders fancy a lot. So that might be a chief reason why he gets the chance to cherry-pick his adversaries. Teddy said, he's slipping a little bit, but he's a golden goose, and he has the privilege to pick his music. Canelo has the edge, and he'll always have the edge, because he's the money guy. With this developing situation, another noteworthy story that has garnered a lot of attention is the contentious relationship between Canelo and His Excellency Turki Alalshik after he rebuffed the opportunity to fight Terence Crawford by making reckless ultimatums. Seemingly getting His Excellency irked up by his nonchalant behavior, many fans suspect that the September 14th fight might not perform as well as thought by many pros, including Teddy, as Turki might seek retaliation by funding the UFC debut that will take place at the Sphere in Las Vegas at the same night. Thinking the same thing, Oscar de la Hoya stated how this reckless move by Canelo might come back to haunt him, as he not only rejected a very profitable fight offered by His Excellency, but also has put his career in tremendous jeopardy.
And as I said weeks ago, this fight will not do well on September 14. Not only because the matchup is okay, but because they're going up against the UFC's debut at the Sphere in Las Vegas.
Known to be one of the most despotic critiques of Canelo, Oscar de la Hoya even went as far as to call Canelo a weakling for doing something like this, for the sole reason that he does not want to go against David Benavidez, his longtime potential adversary, whom he has been ducking in trepidation of getting pummeled.
So it turns out I'm not the only one who thinks Canelo is an arrogant piece of shit. Turki Alalshik recently revealed that Canelo refused to meet with him in person and isn't entertaining any deals to be done with him. Why? Because he's outpriced himself so much that the Saudis don't even want to deal with him. And it's all because he will do anything not to fight David Benavidez.
Addressing this sham of a fight, Oscar also blasted Edgar for making statements on how he would become a legend after this fight, and how he would then go ahead to fight bigger names in the industry. According to Oscar, this is nothing but a warped fantasy, as Edgar is nowhere near the point of making such bold claims, as no one is even slightly interested in this fight.
And Canelo continues to take the fights that nobody wants to see. That takes me to Edgar Berlanga, who is fighting Canelo on September 14. Now he claims he has a whole country behind him. Edgar, bro, you're from Brooklyn. I think I'm more Puerto Rican than you are, and I only lived there for 6 years. Puerto Rico doesn't claim you, bro.
Paulie Malignaggi, who is a well-known former professional fighter, also thinks that Canelo is deliberately avoiding Benavidez, because deep down, he is aware that if that fight is ever orchestrated, he would face absolute ruination. Paulie also stated how after this incessant refusal from Canelo's camp, it is only appropriate that he vacates his 3 super middleweight titles. Paulie stated, I don't care who Canelo fights if he would vacate his 168 LB titles. I've been saying this for 2 years. I think Benavidez runs him over like a train, like a car stuck on the train tracks, who is still stuck at 168 fighting mediocre fighters like Berlanga. Exasperated about Canelo's move resulting in this lost opportunity, Paulie added, his Canelo's apprehension to fight his mandatory continuously only further cements my opinion of that. I don't think he's going to fight Benavidez. The only reason I want him to fight Benavidez is for the belts, because I don't even think it would be a good fight. On the other hand, after witnessing the ballistic press conference that took place in Los Angeles, there is no doubt that there is an alarming hostility that has been brewing between the fighters, especially after manager Edgar Berlanga made snide remarks at Caleb Plant, a surprising supporter of Canelo, who was present in the audience. Canelo, rattled by this disrespect, retaliated, which almost transpired into a physical altercation after Berlanga lunged at Canelo.
And we're not gonna end up like that. Fuck nigga over there. I got knocked out. Caleb.
All right. They're both on the same card.
Yeah.
All right, let's turn things back over.
Stop
Caleb,
the cap,
Caleb,
no?
take it easy. I'm gonna take care of him for you. I promise you.
Word.
Okay.
Shut the fuck up.
I wanna see that. I wanna see that.
Shut up. Shut up. When I talk, shut up.
I don't wanna
When I talk, shut up.
I don't wanna shut
When
up.
I talk, shut up. When I
don't
talk,
wanna
shut up.
Canelo.
When I talk, shut up.
Canelo.
What?
When I talk,
And then
shut
what?
up.
What are you gonna do?
And then
What you gonna do?
fuck you
What
up.
you gonna do?
All right.
What you gonna do?
Ever the promoter, Eddie Hearn, just like the fans, seemed quite enthralled by this press conference, almost commending Edgar for his extreme trash talk, stating how this was a very good strategy, as now people might consider him more seriously, rather than just a boxer who Canelo fought. Eddie stated, "The last thing that the fans should want is just like an appreciation society for Canelo Alvarez. Oh, thank you so much for the opportunity. No, I'm going to go in there, stick it on you, and knock you out. And I think Edgar did that brilliantly." He further added, "On September 14th, we're going to go to war, and I love what I saw from Edgar, and I think the fans do as well. Like, we have to remember as well that this is theater amongst sports." Known for his interest in the underdogs, Eddie seemed to incline toward Edgar in this bout, claiming how though many people might discredit him by not taking him seriously, he is a mandatory challenger for Canelo, possessing exceptional power and agility that might prove to be quite damaging for Canelo, who appears to be punching past his prime. Eddie stated, "Edgar Berlanga is the mandatory challenger. He's an undefeated Puerto Rican fighter that will come to fight. He's a big puncher, and he'll come to win that fight. I think it'll be a great fight, I really do, because sooner or later, Canelo Alvarez will start to go in decline." Robert Garcia shared his take on this heated conference, calling it fun and good for generating more hype around this upcoming bout. Robert also stated that this might be the first time that they have seen Canelo so triggered, which is good, especially by looking back at the generation-old rivalry between the Mexicans and Puerto Ricans.
It was funny. Yeah. It was funny. I didn't see that in Canelo. You know, walking around, I eat all that shit. But it was fun. It was fun. You know, it caught people's attention because we don't expect that from Canelo. You know, he doesn't around like that. Right. He's more of a serious person, but you know, a little bit of that doesn't hurt.
While giving his prediction of who might win this fight, Garcia pointed out the disparities between the fighters, the most notable one being the difference in experience, which gives Canelo an edge to finally beat Edgar with a knockout. Robert stressed how regardless of many fans pointing at Canelo for being lackluster in his last fight with Munguia, this time he would make an astonishing comeback. Robert stated, "I think Canelo should win by knockout, as Canelo already said it so for this fight. In his most recent fights, especially against Munguia, it seemed like he kind of held back a little, and he didn't really push to get the knockout, which I think he could have. So I think this time he's taking a little more personally. As this is an ultimate showdown between the prime Mexican fighter who is the current reigning king in the division and the young hotshot fighter from Puerto Rico, many pros and analysts from similar backgrounds have vocalized their thoughts on this, the most prominent one being Juan Marquez, who is not only a Mexican Hall of Famer, but also has been a world champion in 3 distinct weight divisions. Sharing his opinion, Juan crowned Canelo as the winner of this fight based on his extensive experience, which is something Edgar seems to have a shortage of. Predicting the fight to end by a brutal knockout, Juan commented on how fights like these always have the corresponding outcomes, where the more experienced fighters stiffly vanquish the newer, comparably young fighter.
What do you think about Canelo Berlanga? People want Benavidez. Is Berlanga a young fighter,
yes.
big puncher?
Yes, I know, but the level of opponents is a different. Canelo has experience, Berlanga he doesn't have, and then this is the difference. I think the pressure is for Berlanga. I think Berlanga needs experience. Berlanga needs to fight with another great fighters. I think Canelo knocked him out.
He knocks out Berlanga?
Yeah. I knocked him out in 7 rounds.
Talking about Hall of Famers, famed fighter Bernard Hopkins is all for Canelo in this fight, even making bold statements about how right now, Canelo is the face of boxing, who is at the pinnacle of greatness, and no matter how staunch the opponent, he would always persevere. Bernard stated, "Everybody got a chance, especially if the other guy gives him that chance, but it's hard for anybody, as far as I'm concerned with any IQ of boxing sense." He continued, "Right now, I believe that Canelo is at the top of his game top of, and I believe that Canelo wants to prove that he's still the face of boxing." Bernard also weighed in on the feudal adversity directed toward Canelo, stating how it is about time that the fans start to judge the fighters based on their attributes and prowess, rather than their own bias that they have crafted over the years. Bernard stated, "Whether you agree to disagree, or whether you feel whatever way you feel about Canelo, he is what he is. So put the feelings to the side, and put the talent on a table, and judge the talent as it is." Meanwhile, Rolly Romero, who is a professional fighter himself, had a rather humorous take on the press conference, saying how it was not only ludicrous, but also fun at the same time, especially after witnessing a usually calm Canelo talk fluent English to mercilessly taunt Berlanga.
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this, man. English speaking Canelo, a whole different level of energy, man.
It's a monster.
Bro, hey, Canelo, when he speaks English, bro, he a completely different person, man. He over here, man. He over there. He completely different when he speak English.
Yeah, you like that Canelo instead?
Yeah. Spanish Canelo humble, man. He chill, man.
Yeah.
He ain't. But like, man, when he starts speaking English, bro, everything come out.
Yeah.
Rolly also questioned the authenticity of the claims made by Berlanga about defeating Canelo, who is far more experienced and powerful than him, sarcastically pointing out the inadequacy of this statement. Rolly posed a question about how no one really believes that Edgar is anywhere near Canelo's level in any aspect. Rolly stated, "I got a question for everybody. Are you guys in as much disbelief as I am that Berlanga claims to have more ring IQ than Canelo? That's my only opinion." Tim Bradley, who is a prominent boxing analyst, appeared in an interview with ProBox TV, where he also slammed Edgar for making such threats despite being an underdog who has never faced an opponent like Canelo ever before in his rather brief professional career. Tim stated, "He, Berlanga, has a puncher's chance. I think Canelo has to come in there with his hand tied behind his back maybe. Maybe both of them tied behind his back for Berlanga to be able to land that shot on Canelo Alvarez." Giving some hindsight in his stern comments, Tim pointed out how for Berlanga to land a solid knockout punch at Canelo is not child's play, as Canelo is eminent for his extremely powerful and robust chin, which plays a crucial role in his defense strategies. Tim added, "He has one of the best beards that I've seen in a very long time, man. It has got to be at least the top 10 strongest chins ever in the history of boxing." Talking about the lack of a proper game plan and augmentations from Edgar's side, Tim stated how although Edgar fancies taking part in such extravagant talks and making bold promises, he has still not worked on the crucial thing, which is the game plans. According to Tim, this disinterest has cost Edgar in the past, as whenever he gets inside the ring to fight, he appears to be a deer in headlights oblivious about what his next step is. Tim stated, "I mean, you can say whatever you want to say at the end of the day. I don't know what his game plan is. I don't see Berlanga winning this fight. I actually see him getting stopped." However, Chris Algeriri, appearing on the same show as Tim, disclosed some inside scoop about Berlanga being in absolute confidence that he will win this fight. Sharing a somewhat distinct opinion, Chris pointed out how this sense of faith is good for a fighter, especially if they are starting off, because it helps them not only to grow as professional fighters, but also if they end up accomplishing their much coveted goals, they are then revered by the boxing community.
Edgar's head is at, and he very much believes that he can win this fight. You know, he takes a little bit of delusion to be a good fighter. We all had it. We all have it to a degree. But also, I've been seeing Berlanga training. I've been seeing him. He trains over down here at the ProBox Studio Training Center that we have out in Tampa, Florida. And man, he's already in better shape than I've seen him.
So in the end, what are your thoughts about this upcoming bout? Do you agree with the takes of these notable pros? Make sure to tell about your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe to our channel to stay tuned for more exciting news.